Good evening. Good evening. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Creation with Akia. Tonight, my special guest is Shakey Webster. We fondly call her Aunty Shakey, and she is here to drop a lot of gems, diamonds, and gold to tell you about how to manage your financial wealth, how to build that wealth. We all want to know how to do that, and she is an expert in that matter. She is what we call your financial matchmaker. And without further ado, I want to bring Auntie Shakey up to say hey to everyone, our very own financial matchmaker. Good.
Hey,
Hey, good evening, Auntie Shakey.
how are you? I'm so
I am
happy to be
doing
here.
well.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I am doing so well. And you've got to give us, like, what is this financial matchmaker? What is this all about?
Listen, so it came out of several different forms, okay? Well, because of the fact that I'm a person that is always connecting people, okay? I have a really huge network of people, and people are always looking for this or they're looking for that, and so I was matching them together. And then there's some people who were looking for love, and I was matching them together too. But finance was always my thing. It was always money, how money moves, how money works, saving it, spending it, all of that, right? That's what I said. You know what? Let me just put the two together. And I am the financial matchmaker.
That is really, really interesting. So not just money, but money and love. You've been able to bring those two things together.
Yes.
And and money makes love go down a little bit easier too.
A lot more palpable for sure. Exactly. Exactly. Listen, it's difficult for me, not for some, but it's difficult for me to fall in love with somebody broke. Like what we doing? What we doing? I can't just it's hard to fall in love with just good looks and somebody that makes you laugh. We've got to have something of security. So
Amen. I say amen to that. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that's going to be seeing this that's going to totally agree with you. What they used to have that song, All You Need Is Love. Remember that? Ba-ba-ba-da-da. All you need is love.
and then Tina Turner said, "What love got to do with it?"
Exactly. And all you need is love's great till the bills roll around.
That part. That part.
So, so yeah, so we're gonna have a really good time. A lot of times people get intimidated by the topic of money. And when I work with people, I'm working with them with their money, but it's more their relationship to money.
Mhm.
The difficulty they have with the money. And it doesn't seem to matter to me where the person is with financially. They could be broke or they can, have a really decent job paying them well, or even have a really thriving business,
Yeah.
and they still struggle around money. There's this difficulty. So I look at it, and I teach a course called the 17 Ways People Have Beefed Up Their Money, the big F word, right? How they've done that to their money and how to fix it. So that's more just the mindset and that energetic relationship people have to money, whether it's the patterns of money they develop from their family,
Mhm.
society have told them about their money, whether they're male, female, how they view money,
Mhm.
and also how they energetically feel about themselves, how they value themselves, and how they relate to money. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering, I know you work with people with the practical aspects,
Mhm.
like I know you've mentioned their budgeting, their investments,
Mhm.
finding the right investment vehicle to help them get to where they want to get to with their money. But do
Right.
you see, does that make it difficult? Those relationships to money, does that make it difficult in your work with them? Have you
Oh,
seen that?
oh my goodness. I'm so glad that you brought that up because I see that often. So People that have financial trauma find it extremely difficult to be able to either relinquish their money or put their money into safe vehicles because they don't want to part with it because they want to spend it. So you have two different people. You have people that hoard money. Well, you actually have three different people. You have people that hoard money, okay, which means that let me just keep it in a bank account. I'm just going to keep it in a bank account because I like looking at it in a bank account. Okay. And then you have those people that love spending it that as soon as they get money, it's like hot potato, hot potato. Like, and then you have those that may not have financial trauma or have fought through their financial trauma and they're freely like they do a good blend of spending as well as saving. So yeah.
Because the reason I ask, because people come to me and, like the big thing nowadays people talk about is this generational wealth. I want to build generational wealth, especially in the African American community. There's a lot of talk about, being behind other groups, other demographics, and this whole thrust towards building generational wealth. And I wanted you to just tell us about how does the things that you work with people with help them with that?
Yeah. I feel like we can say in our mind what it is that we want and we desire, right? So I desire to be 125 pounds. I desire that. Okay. And today I went out and I bought me a big bag of popcorn, some cereal and some milk. Like eating popcorn, cereal, and milk is not going to get me to 125 pounds. Okay. So likewise, people that say that they want generational wealth and then they do things that are the opposite, it makes me wonder, are we really a society that's willing to do what it takes to actually create generational wealth for ourselves? So what I do though, because legacy is crucial to me, when I tell you the reason why I go hard is because the reason why I'm an award winning um, financial strategist is because of the fact that legacy truly is my ultimate goal. And what legacy means to me is how many generations outside of just myself can be felt by my impact. The impact that I had on this earth, not only with maybe pictures of myself. You can see me on Facebook or Instagram or something like that, but did I actually leave you something so that you can, or the next generation can have the advantage? I think that that's what's extremely important. And so there's many different financial tools and strategies that we use to be able to implement that.
Okay. So when someone comes to you and you see that maybe they're a financial mess, they're not even at the level that they could reach a financial goal yet. What are some of the things that you may do with a client like that?
Yeah. So with a client like that, I still have a heart for people that are in financial trauma. Because listen, I suffered from financial trauma. When back in 2007, 2008, my husband and I, we had $1 million in the bank and we had a $5 million real estate portfolio. And to get to the point where the market crashed and we lost it all, like, I mean, we hear all the time that a setback is a setup for a comeback, right? I'm definitely the comeback kid for sure. Okay. So I'm very empathetic to those people that are in those situations because I once found myself there. And so what helped me get out of that was budgeting, knowing where my money is, what comes in, what comes out, saying, okay, not only what comes in, what comes out, but each person on my team, and when I say person, I'm talking about money, each dollar that is on my team, I need to know how you function. So, for example, my son is, he's a pro athlete. So he plays professional basketball. Okay. There are always only 5 players on the court. Okay. There is a point guard. He dribbles the ball up the court. Okay. There's also a shooting guard. Okay. They're mostly shooting the ball. Okay. They may not necessarily dribble the ball up the court, but certainly they got handles. Okay. And then you also have a small forward. Okay. You have another forward, and then you have a center. Okay. Well, you have all 5 of these people. All of them have a purpose. Well, likewise, our money is no different. They are teammates, and we are putting them to work, and we're assigning them. Okay. So, for example, if I bring in $1,000 a month, let's just say, then maybe I only want 30% of that $1,000 to go towards my housing. Okay. And then I only want 5% of it to actually go to eating out. But what's happening is we're upside down, and we don't realize how often we're eating out. We don't realize how often, a girlfriend says, "Hey, let's go to, let's go here, let's go here." We don't realize that. And so that's what a good budget does. It shows us how we're spending our money, what our habits are, and to rein ourselves in.
That is really, really good advice. So, like I remember as a kid, like high school, they taught us, make a budget. And then everybody think, oh, that's boring. Nobody wants to do it. It's dull. You don't really need it. You can keep it in your head and figure it out. But like someone who's a professional like you says, back to the basics. Make a budget for yourself, which is extremely crucial
Absolutely.
in any kind of financial thing that you're doing. If you don't know what's going in and what's coming out, you're lost.
It's interesting because people look at corporations like a Chick-fil-A, like a Walmart, like a Macy's, anything like that. Do you think that they are very loose with their money? Do you think that they're cavalier with their money? Like, oh, you know what? I'm just gonna do this here. I'm just gonna spend here. They didn't get to where they are being reckless with their money. They didn't get to where they are being reckless in thought with their money. Okay. So likewise, our money, our budget, how big or how small, is a corporation. It's a mini. That is your first assignment. Your money that you have coming in is your first sign of, or your first responsibility of a corporation.
That is a serious bar, Auntie Shakey, and I love it. Stop being reckless with your money. We definitely need to put that in the title. Stop being reckless with your money. That is a serious bar, because that's probably what's going on with most people, that they
Yeah.
just don't know. They're reckless with their money. Like you said, the money trauma that they're experiencing
Yeah.
is making them avoid the responsibility of their money, and they don't see
Mhm.
it in that way. So you're saying, see yourself as that corporation
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
account just the same way a corporation will account for every penny. Account for that, because at the end of the day, one thing I know with corporations and any business I've ever done, you have to reconcile
You
those books at
have
the end
to
of the
reconcile.
day.
Exactly. You have to reconcile. Like, you cannot, if it doesn't reconcile at the end of the day, wait a minute. What do we do? What do we do?
Exactly, exactly. Could you explain what reconcile mean for people who are not sure what that term means?
Sure. So reconcile basically it's a financial term in which what we said we were going to spend, or what we said we received in, is actually accounted for. So again, if I said that I was going to spend $500 on my house note, I was going to spend 300 on utilities, and then another $50 on eating out. Well, when I reconcile and I see that I actually spent 200 on eating out, that thing didn't reconcile. We didn't, the numbers didn't match. They did not add up. And so while you went through the process of reconciling, you now see that you're in a deficit on one of your categories. So now you say you're able to be more conscious. And Akia, you know this. You
Mhm.
know this. it's the law of visibility or attraction.
Hmm. Yes.
Okay, what you pay attention to actually transforms. Okay,
Yes.
that which you neglect tends to go away. Okay, so when it comes to your finances, again, remember I said my desire is to be 125 pounds. I don't know, maybe I want to be vapor. I don't know. But my desire is to be 125 pounds. Okay. However, um, in order to do that, I need to track my calories. Okay. Because the amount of calories in, I need to actually have that amount going out, right? I need to exercise and stuff like that, be in a caloric deficit. Okay. We also need to be in a financial deficit. Okay. We need to be able to keep more money than we have going out. But anyway, it makes it a lot easier for me to lose that weight when I track what I'm eating. When I have a diary for my food, a food diary always helps. So,
True.
same with a money diary, which is a budget. It tells us exactly how we're spending our money because now our attention is to it. So now it can grow and build.
Okay. So you would say step one, someone comes to you, they need to put together their budget. They need to see what it is they're working with.
Hmm.
And once they get that in place, like you're showing them how to either grow or manage their wealth. And, let's take into consideration maybe they have a business, they already have a job, they have income coming in. So you're teaching them what to do with that income coming in. So
Yes.
once they get the budget, what would be the next thing that you would take them to if they want to, like say, grow or invest, or what would you tell them to do next after that?
Great question. And I think what happens with a lot of financial professionals, which is the reason why I am a financial strategist versus just a professional, is there's a strategy in getting you from where you are today to where it is you want to go. That's my job. How do I take you from where you are today to where you want to go? And in order to do that, I need to understand what are your goals? What are your hobbies? What's your be? What's your do? What's your have? Who do you want to be? What do you want to have? What is it that you want to do? And that allows me to help a person really understand where they should put their money. There are some people where they should never have their money in the stock market. They aren't that aggressive. They're very conservative people. And the older you are, the more conservative you probably want to be. But the younger you are, you have the ability to be aggressive. You have time. Okay. Us older people, we don't necessarily have a whole lot of time. Okay. So but for some people, I suggest stocks. For others, and for everybody, let me not say others, everybody can benefit from being in life insurance. Everyone. Okay. And then real estate. That's the reason why I say I help people find their perfect sir. Stocks, insurance, and real estate. I'm also a licensed real estate agent. And so real estate is one of those. However, just because I'm a licensed real estate agent doesn't mean I sell real estate. I understand that the money is in the purchase of real estate, not the selling of it. But there are some people that I need to walk through a path in which to help them acquire their first piece of real estate so that it can pay them passively. But there is a product that is definitely my favorite. It is the concept of infinite bank, where you put your money inside of a life insurance policy for several different reasons. You put your money inside of a life insurance policy to protect it. I want insurance for my money. Okay. And this is insurance for my money, not just insurance on my life, but also for my money, to protect it, to grow it, so that when it grows tax free, and also my money is liquid. And so those are that concept is one concept I absolutely love.
That is a really, really great concept. So you call it an infinite bank?
Hmm.
Okay. So what does an infinite bank actually entail? I mean, I find that really intriguing.
Okay. So
Yeah.
so an infinite bank entails, so it's an index strategy, okay? So what basically an index strategy means is while your money is not in the market, it's growing with the market. And the nice thing is, inside of life insurance, your money is safe. So you never lose money due to market volatility. Okay. So the index itself actually pays out anywhere from 8 to 12% on average year over year. Okay. Now, what's interesting about that, and the reason why I suggest people put their money inside of life insurance than to keep it inside of a bank, because every day your money is sitting in a bank account, it's losing money. I don't know if most people realize that.
That is really an eye opener, and that's where most people have their money,
That's where most people have their money, is inside
losing
a
it.
bank. And a bank is the least safest place almost. I mean, you might as well have your money sitting underneath the mattress.
Wow.
I mean, you see, I don't know if you saw, but on the news several months ago, there were several banks that went under.
I remember that.
Your money is not safe necessarily in a bank. And yes, okay, there's people that say, well, FDIC, child, bye. Like, okay, now I got to fight with somebody. I got to fight with the FDIC. You know, I'm sure you've filed an insurance claim before. Maybe you have, maybe you
Oh,
haven't, but
yes. They don't like giving you anything.
they don't like giving you nothing.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
so that being the case, why would I want my money in something like that? And also the fact that your money is sitting inside of a bank account, it cannot keep up with the cost of inflation. And so
Mm.
inflation rate last year was 8%. It was
Ooh.
8%, which means that what you paid for, I'm not sure if you eat eggs or not or anything like that, but just think about
Hmm.
your favorite food. What
Right.
you paid for eggs last year this time is much different from what you're paying for it today. That's
True. That's
inflation.
true. Hmm.
Okay. And so, if that's the case, if that money is sitting in the bank, not doing anything and not earning any money, then it didn't keep up with the cost of inflation. You lost money.
Wow. A lot of people don't realize that.
They
That's
do
that's
not.
a real big eye opener, Auntie Shaky. Wow. So by keeping it in using a life insurance as your bank,
Mhm.
and the life insurance investing in an index fund, is that what I'm getting that correctly?
Mhm.
Then you're growing at the rate that that index or that market is growing at. Is
Correct.
okay.
However
That
that index performs.
that sound so. If that is such a better way of doing it, why aren't more people aware?
Whoo. Okay, so that's the reason why us as financial professionals, we are trying to make people aware. But the thing is, again, remember we talked earlier about people having financial trauma. It's interesting how, we'll think that the government, is trying to poison us, okay? And perhaps they are. I'm not, I mean, I don't disagree with anybody. However you see things, right? Um, but oh my God, I'm not going to take a shot. Oh my God, I'm not going to, because the government is always trying to do this to me. The government, well, guess what? The government has told you what to do with your money. And that's exactly what you're doing with your money. So you're afraid when someone else comes along and tells you something different to do with your money. You won't listen because this is the way you've always done it. This is the way they told you to do it in school
Hmm.
when it's all designed to cause you to lose.
Wow, that's huge. That you've got to go in a little bit deeper on what that mean. Why is that designed to make you lose?
So the more poor The more people that are poor or middle class, the wealthier the people at the top are.
Mm.
It's the middle class that make the rich rich.
Ah.
It's the poor habits of it's the money that goes into the market from people's 401ks. 401ks have been the biggest ripoff to date. And
Wow.
people love and they brag about their 401ks.
Mm.
We tell our children, go ahead, get a good job, but you make sure you participate in that 401k because they're going to give you a match. That was the government's way. That was established by the government in like the late 70s. Like this is a new concept.
Mm.
401ks are actually a newer concept than life insurance is.
Wow. And because I remember prior to that, you had pensions.
You
You
had
worked on a job, you
pensions.
got a pension. Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that went away.
And then that went away because it wasn't the common person was getting too much money
Ah.
and it wasn't driving the economy. So when a person participates in a 401k, that money goes into the stock market. And so it's forcing the workforce to participate in a tool that they know nothing about,
And
nor
they
have the
can't
schools
access it.
educated them.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and they have no access to that
They
until they
have
reach a certain
no
age.
access to it until age 59 and a half.
Wow.
Age 59 and a half without penalty. So you encourage me to put my money in this place. You encourage me to put my money in this place. You tell me, "Oh, well it's going to go up. The market's going to go up. It's going to go down. It's going to go up. It's going to go down." Um well, how about in 2008 when the market crashed, people that had several millions of dollars that were sitting in their 401k found themselves broke and needing to go
Ooh.
and work at Walmart.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna tell you about a client I had. I have a client. He retired in December of 2022. No, 2021, December 2021. He came to me and he retired with $1 million. He came to me in October 2022 and he said, Shakey, I need help. I need help. Like I'm losing my retirement. I'm going to have to go back to work. The reason why is because the market fell 24% in 2022. So that means that him retiring from his company with $1 million and that lost 24% meant he lost $240,000 a year. $240,000.
Woo, that's a lot.
That's a lot of money.
Hmm.
We cannot afford that. We cannot afford that. And on top of that, okay, so you can't get it out till you're 59 and a half. The second thing to that though is without penalty because it's 10% penalty. But also you have to consider the fact that the taxes that you have to pay. So when you are able to take the money out, okay, you're taxed at whatever tax bracket you are in then, not when you earned it.
Ooh, wee. So you're being double and triple dipped on,
It's
basically.
insane.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time. Well, not tell people, or I ask people all the time. If you were a farmer, I'm gonna let you answer this. If
Okay.
you were a farmer, okay, and you wanted to be taxed on your seed or on your harvest, which one would you prefer to be taxed on your seed or on your harvest if you were a farmer?
I would say the seed
Okay,
because you could yield more on the harvest, so the tax would be bigger, right?
bingo. It's almost like
Hmm.
ding, 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 ding. Like that's exactly it. So this whole idea of deferring your taxes it doesn't make sense logically. It doesn't make sense because what you're saying is, okay, let's defer the taxes today. Don't tax me on my seed, tax me on my harvest
Mm.
when my harvest is plentiful.
Wow.
That's what a 401k is. But instead, like, listen, I'm going to ask you. Do you think that taxes are going to be higher today, or are they going to be higher in the future?
In the future, of
In
course.
the future, of
Yeah.
course. The
Hmm.
tax debt is so big, somebody's got to pay for it.
Yeah.
Somebody has to pay for it, right? And so, that being the case, why I would rather deal with the devil I know today
Yeah.
than the devil I don't know, which is the taxes in the future.
Hmm. So my question is, so when you put it in an insurance vehicle,
Mhm.
and it's you're earning according to the index, and you do have access to it, like you said, it's liquid, so you
Mhm.
have access to that money. How are the taxes in that? Are you just being taxed as you go along, or there's no taxes, or
There's no tax. It grows tax free. That's
wow,
the reason why,
even when you take it out?
even when you take it out, you take it out
Wow.
tax free, it grows tax free because that money was already taxed. It was already taxed. The government's only going to tax you one time.
Hmm.
Okay. They're going to tax you on your seed or they're going to tax you on your harvest. That's the
Okay.
reason why I'm saying you want to be taxed on your seed.
So you were taxed on the money before you put in into your insurance. So I
Exactly.
got you. Because I was trying to figure out, how is it that you're not getting taxed on that money? You already
Hmm.
been taxed on it. Thanks for answering that. This is really enlightening. I'm learning a lot.
Good. But I also want to remember I said this is not a new concept. So have you heard of the terms Bowley and Coley?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Bowley, okay. So Bowley is bank owned life insurance. Coley is
Hmm.
corporate owned life insurance. So banks and corporations have been doing this for decades. Okay. This is
Wow.
nothing new for them. Okay. A
Hmm.
large portion of their wealth is actually in life insurance assets. Okay. And one of
Hmm.
those reasons, well, the four reasons is because it's safe, there's a good rate of return. Okay. Their money
Hmm.
is liquid, but most importantly, it grows tax free. And so because of that, let's do small numbers, okay? Let's just say Bank of America had $1 million in some form of some sort of financial strategy, okay? Outside of
Hmm.
life insurance. And let's just say that it profited 10%, okay? What's 10% of $1 million?
100,000.
$100,000. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, let's just say that bank was sitting at a 30% income bracket. Okay.
Hmm.
For sake of easy math. Okay. What's 30% of 100,000?
30,000.
$30,000. Do you think a bank is in the business of wanting to give Uncle Sam $30,000?
Not at all. Not
Not
at
at
all.
all.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the reason why they would much rather have their money grow inside of a life insurance policy, because if the index hits at 10%, they get to keep all of that $100,000.
Gotcha.
Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Chase, they have well over $20 billion in life insurance assets. And so I always ask my clients this: do you think that they have the smartest of smartest people telling them what to do with their money?
Of course they do.
Of course they do. Of
Those
course.
Harvards and those Yales.
So Akia, I while I do well for myself, okay, while I
Mhm.
do well for myself, I am not at the point where I can hire the best of the best to tell me what to do with my money, okay. But what I am smart enough to do is watch the people that can afford the best of the best and put my money where they put their money.
Amen. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a whole lot of sense.
And if they're not putting
Yeah,
their money in the bank, what we doing?
exactly. Yeah, because that's not where they're putting theirs.
That is not where they put their money.
What we the ones that fell off the turnip truck.
Exactly. Exactly. We literally just doing what they tell us to do. We
Mhm.
doing what they,
Or
and we're
even
so proud of
questioning it.
ourselves too. We're so
Yeah.
proud of ourselves.
Yeah, everybody's like, "Oh, I like the way that account's looking."
Yes. And I'm always
Oh,
like, grow up. No, I'm just kidding.
Hmm.
But I am. I'm
But we
just
need
like,
to grow up. We do need to grow
yes,
up. We're like behind. Even in my work that I do with people, I feel like saying that a lot. Like, guys, it's not that hard. Grow up. You just need the knowledge. You need the education, and
yes,
that's why I love doing these interviews because I learn so much, and I feel it's such a big service for people that tune in and listen because
mhm,
they're also getting something out of it. They're learning.
yeah.
And this was like gems. Like I said, she was going to drop the gems, she was going to drop the diamonds and the gold. And talking about gold, we know professional gold digger. Tell us about that. We want to know what that's all about, lady.
Yes. So I do consider myself a professional gold digger. And there are people that are, did she say GOAL? No, I said GOLD. I certainly did. Now I am a professional gold digger, and the reason why I say that is because yes, I married my husband for security. Okay. He knew exactly what it was, and we are still married to this day. We are 20 years in. Okay. Marrying for love is a Western concept. It's a Western concept. All other countries, they are put together strategically. They're put together strategically. And remember, I'm the financial matchmaker. So what I do is I take relationships and I bring it to the point of relationships. I take relationships and bring it to the point of finances. Okay. So, like, for example, I'm a real estate investor. Okay. And so, no real estate investor has ever, I mean, not one, at least they're not a smart real estate investor. If they did, they don't go up to a building and say, you know what? That building is so beautiful. Oh my God, it's so attractive. It makes me laugh. Oh my God, I just love the way this building makes me feel. You would be a awful investor if that's how you chose real estate. Okay. Likewise, when you go into a relationship, your husband or your wife, your spouse, whatever, is the biggest asset that you are going to acquire. It's going to be the biggest thing in your portfolio. So if it's the biggest investment inside of your portfolio, why are we thinking about this person? Why are we acquiring this person through emotions? That's it's really the question I have, because emotions are fleeting. They're we could feel this way today, and then we could eat a burger and some fries and some ice cream for dessert, and tomorrow we feel like crap and our feelings are something else. It's like we can get on our cycle or whatever. Like, these emotions are fleeting. And so, just to honing in some more about my gold digging, it doesn't just go to the person I married. It also goes to the son I raised. I raised a man that some other woman is who also is a gold digger, okay? Because she saw the gold inside of him. I am only looking for gold. All of us are digging up something. Some of us just happen to collect whatever ends up in our shoe as we walk along the street, a little pebble, and we happen to hook up with the pebble and sleep with them and have a baby with the pebble. There's others that, they are digging sand, goes right through their hands. They they here today, they gone tomorrow. And then some of us, we're digging for clay, somebody we can mold and shape, create, form into what we want. And all I'm saying is I purposefully am looking for gold. I'm looking for that rare thing, that thing that will last, that all I need to do is just shine it up a little bit. That's all I want. It came as gold. I stumbled upon it as gold. But that transcends to my relationships in all facets, whether it be my girlfriends, whether it be the people that I network with, whatever. I want gold in my life, and I purposely seek after that gold, but certainly not people that I need to mold and shape. It's not my
That
ministry.
that makes so much sense. It's rare that you hear anybody explain it the way you explain it, Auntie Shake, and it makes a lot of sense because we talked about money trauma, but there's so much trauma in relationships and so much fear around relationships because you don't know. Or if you say, hey, I want gold in my relationship, then you're taught up in society as, oh, you're just a gold digger and you're no good and you don't really care about people. All you want is the material things, or you're just a material girl. Like you're just, but from what I'm hearing you say has a lot more wisdom to it. It's the gold could be money, and I would say because you're a financial person,
Mhm.
it money would be involved, but money alone doesn't seem to be the value of the quality. So we know that money is there, but what other value or quality are you looking for when you say gold in your relationships?
That's such a good question. So, okay, so like for example, my husband, he has a myriad of gold qualities. Okay. Um, One, he knew how to treat a lady and allowed me to be a lady. Okay. I don't have to go 50-50 on nothing. I don't understand the concept of a woman coming to the table for 50-50. There used to be a time where a man took great pleasure in taking care of their woman. And that's what I saw in him immediately. Immediately was like, oh, you don't have to work. You don't have to work. You know what? Honey, thank you. But I'm a worker. I love working. Okay. I love the freedom to be able to work. Let me say that. I love the freedom to be able to work. But I also love the freedom to not have to work. And I love the fact that my husband is willing to do whatever it takes to care for his family. Also, though, he comes from great stock. Akia, I know you've heard people talk about before, like, oh, they got to come from some good stock. My parents have been married for 52 years. His parents have been married for 52 years. He had a great example of what a good, healthy relationship would look like.
Hmm.
I had a great example of what a good, healthy relationship would look like. That was gold to me. Okay. That's
Yes.
another sign of gold. Another sign of gold is somebody that's not lazy. People ask me all the time, well, you're an entrepreneur. Wouldn't you have wanted to marry an entrepreneur? Why? Why? I don't care what his profession is. I don't care. My husband could be a sanitation worker so long as he did whatever he could to make sure I had the desires of my heart. And that's the thing that's important, that he desires to give me the desires of my heart. Now, likewise with my girlfriends, they desire to give me the desires of my heart. I desire to give them the desires of their whatever they need in me as a friend. I'm willing to give them. When I show up in spaces, Akia, like the morning meetup, I show up as gold. I'm not showing up to the community like sand. I'm not showing up to the community like clay. I am bringing a gold like quality.
Yes, you do. You really do. Hmm.
And I'm looking to partner with people. That's the reason, we hung out the other week, you know,
Yeah.
um me and a couple other people, right? I was in the room with other gold.
Hmm.
I wouldn't travel an hour and 15 minutes to sit in a room with sand.
Correct. Yeah.
So I knew what I was going into. So the rooms that I find myself in, and if I feel like I'm in a room with sand and clay, I'm getting the hell up out of there. Because this isn't a room for me. We're unequally yoked. We're unequally yoked. We are marrying people that we are unequally yoked to. But the reason why we're unequally yoked is this. Now, For some people, they have the Bible to show them what unequally yoked means, right? This person is not saved, this person is saved. So we say they're unequally yoked. Y'all, it got to be bigger than that. It got to be bigger than that because that yoke is bright yellow. and, and we got to pay a little bit more attention to it. Okay? But you don't
Bright
even
yellow.
know.
Could I just say, is it bright yellow like a highlighter, or is it bright yellow like a flashing warning sign?
It's a warning. Exactly. It's a warning, warning, warning. Exactly. But Akia, stay here with me. Stay here with me.
Yeah.
But I don't think people the reason why they don't see it as a warning sign and the reason why they end up being unequally yoked and they don't realize it until they're years in, they don't realize it because they never had a life plan to begin with. They never knew what they wanted out of life. So what they ended up doing was they allowed someone to come into their life and show up in a space where they felt like they had a hole and they just needed somebody to plug that hole. So
I hear you.
if somebody was lonely and somebody came and paid them some attention, oh, okay, that person plugged that hole, but they didn't have nothing to do with their overall life plan. I knew for me that I was going to be wealthy. I was going to be wealthy beyond measure. And so with that being the case, I needed to partner with someone who also desired to be wealthy beyond measure, not in words, but in action, but in character.
Yes.
I don't know why we allow character to be so low on the totem pole. Because here's the thing. This is also how I knew I got gold. Because I watched how he treated other women. I still do. Why that's important is because the minute that he feels some kind of way about me, he's going to treat me the same way he treats a stranger on the street. And if he treats a stranger on the street poorly, he's going to treat me poorly one day. If he saw a woman being mistreated by a man, okay, I want him to say something. I want him to speak up. I would much rather bury a hero than to live with a coward.
Amen to that. Yeah.
A coward is sand. A coward is clay. And so all of these, I'm hoping, the women and men that are watching this completely understand and see themselves now as gold diggers or desire to be one. Because we cannot, the same way we're loosey-goosey with our money, we cannot be loosey-goosey with our love to people.
True.
It has to be strategic. You have to fit into my overall plan. If you don't fit into my overall plan, I love you. I do. I think you're cute. I think you're handsome. I think you make me laugh and you make me feel all types of good. You make my stuff down there, have a heartbeat. You do all of this. But you're just not for me. You're not for my life plan. And I'm okay with that. Because for me, my life plan, I could not spend my days, and I know I'm talking a lot, so tell me, but I could not spend my life days like chasing my husband around in the daylight with a flashlight, wondering where he at. Because he always following up behind some woman. Listen.
You said a lot there, Shakey. You said a lot. Yeah, but that is so true. I really see that your two biggest assets are your relationships, your family, your relationships, and your money. And, those need to be straight. And like we said, there's so much trauma around all of that. And I think what you're saying is that nobody has a plan. People don't have a plan what to do with their money. They don't have a plan what to do with their relationship. They just flying by the seat of their pants and just going their own
Literally,
way. Yeah.
literally
Even
flying
their
by the seat of their
businesses.
pants.
Yeah, even the business that they try to run, it's just any which way with no plan in place.
No plan. Akia, I think we've been knowing each other now for, I feel like it's been like maybe 10 months, maybe nine,
About that, yeah. Since
10
about
months.
January, yeah.
Yep. Okay. Um, and I have seen you show up consistently with the same brand, the same voice, the same mission
Mhm.
for those 9 months.
Mhm.
And then there's other people within a 9 month span. Hell, I've signed up for their coffee business. I've supported them in their hair care business, their skincare business. I mean, they all over the place.
Mhm.
What you got? What you doing today?
Same thing I was doing yesterday. But I don't know what I know what you're saying.
Like what
They're
are these people
undecided.
doing today?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, they're
Well,
just
well,
trying to figure it out. And the same thing is we're trying to figure it out in relationships,
mhm.
all while getting our heart broke. Why would you
Yeah.
want that kind of pain? Life is too short to be with settled with somebody that you're going to end up finding out in 2 to 3 years that's not who you were ever supposed to be with.
Yeah. Well, that Auntie Shakey, I know this is a whole nother conversation, but I feel that sometimes people they stay in bad relationships. I know I stayed in one, and my excuse was it's the children. That was one of my excuses. I had a stepdad. Wasn't a good thing having a stepdad. So I felt I resolved that problem by making sure that even though he wasn't the right person, at least he was their father.
How did that
And so
turn
I
out?
felt it was safe. Oh, it did not turn out. It
Mm.
turned out badly. Even though like you said, there is bright yellow lights flashing and something going on. Well, it's their dad. Because I didn't have a dad, but they have a dad. Like you say, you go through traumas and you make a lot of excuses
Hmm.
why you put up with trauma. I'm not there anymore, but yeah. So I
But
see what you didn't plan it out. I didn't plan it out, and when I saw he didn't fit into the plans, the kids were there, so it's like, okay, we're gonna keep the family together because I
yeah,
didn't have that, so now they're gonna have it,
that's
and
what
it
I was
didn't
going
work
to
out
ask you
well for
though.
them.
That's what I was going to ask you. Like, and it didn't work out for them, you said.
No, it didn't work out for the kids either. They were traumatized from that whole thing too.
So let me ask you this. Um, were there warning signs kind of leading up to it, or did he come through at a time where you just needed whatever he had?
Well, it was steeped in religion. So, yeah. So it's like, no, this is your partner. This is God has chosen this for you. This is, you're doing God's will. It was steeped in that. And I was like, I don't know
Mm.
about this, but then you're going against God's will. So
Mm.
I understand that, sometimes people stay together because the church or whatever religious you stay together, and it's this whole external pressure of this is what's desired outside of yourself. So yeah, it was a hard yoke to break.
I would rather be I would rather be a gold digger than a manipulator any day,
Yes.
because that church manipulation um is painful. I don't think they realize what it does to a person's psyche. And
And
what I
especially when
mean,
you're young. Yeah, if you're young, like
especially
early
when you're
20s,
young.
yeah, you're like, well, I don't know any better. Maybe they know better. They're older. So yeah.
Exactly. My husband never wanted kids on his own, or of his own, right? He felt like, you know, my son was perfect. He was good with that. He was good with being, a father figure for him. And he did a great job, by the way. But the church said, oh, well, you guys have to have kids. You have to have kids. I didn't want no more kids either. But they said,
Hmm.
but God said, but God said,
God said it. Yes.
God said. It was
I
all
got a
of this.
lot of that. God said
It
this.
was all of
God
this.
said.
God said. And Akia, at the end of the day, I ended up with 6 miscarriages,
Oh.
all to end up with what I started with.
Hmm.
1 kid.
Yeah.
That's all I ever wanted. But
Hmm.
every time that seed got inside of me, and then I lost the seed. Seed got inside of me, lost the seed. See, all of that was painful. It was
Hmm.
trauma.
Yeah.
All because the church said, this is what I'm supposed to do.
This is what God wants. Yeah.
This is what God wants.
Hmm. Yeah. I've been there. I know that story. It's a painful story.
It's
And
painful.
and this is not the discussion we're having, but when I read articles like attendance in church is declining, I see that on the news a lot. There's churches are closing, or there are not enough people to keep the doors open. And I say to myself, I'm like, I could understand that.
Yep.
I mean, I'll read that headline. I said, I kind of get it,
Mm-hmm.
because there have been, like you said, that level of manipulation has nothing to do with God or belief in God. I do believe
That's
in
right.
God
Yep.
firmly, but when people use that and manipulate other people for whatever the agenda might be, yeah, that would make people very shy of being part of all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I fully understand when they say why things decline, and I get it.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
gosh, that's awful. But
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. That's but my spidey senses were going, no, no, no. But God said you should, and inside I'm going, what, no, no,
She's
no, like Mr. Bill, oh
Oh, that is hilarious. That
no,
is
yes, because
hilarious.
there's a part of you that's always warning you, that's always trying to tell you the truth. But
Yeah,
when you're young, you're like 22, 23, 20. You don't know any better.
right.
And when everybody else is older and around you telling you this is the way you should go, you're like, well, they've been there, so they must know better. And you're using them like mentorship. And that's
Right.
probably why I share that. Sometimes you gotta check when you pick the wrong mentors. That's
Listen, even with your mentors, like I am looking for gold in my mentors.
yes,
Like some people choose a
extremely.
mentor that they have to like mold and shape and all of it,
Yeah, exactly.
or they're saying they're here today, they're gone tomorrow. Like, oh my God, I don't even, they're not even consistent, you know?
Yeah.
And so having this idea, and again, we would save, so going back to money, we would save so much money, even on time and money, if we had that life plan.
Yes.
That life plan, we would know exactly what type of mentors to choose.
Hmm.
We would know what mentorship to end up in. We would know a whole lot, and we would save a lot of money. Last year alone, I spent $60,000 in courses, mentorships, and communities.
Hmm.
$60,000 in 1 year's time. Okay. All trying to find myself
Hmm.
because I forgot to go back to my plan. I forgot to read my plan.
Wow.
Had I read my plan, had my plan stayed in front of me, I would have saved at least 35,000.
Hmm.
But
But
you know,
but
you
you go ahead, Auntie Shaky.
no, I was going to say, but you have to go through these trials. I mean, you don't have to.
Hmm.
Let me say you don't have to. But when you do, they're not for naught. You know what I'm saying? Even our past relationships, you got some beautiful kids out of it.
Yes, I did. That was the what they say, the silver lining
Yes.
was
So
that, they're wonderful, they're great. I wouldn't trade them for the world. So I got that. I said the rest, but the
right.
kids, like, but I got these three wonderful people. And you know what was so funny? When I meditate, Auntie Shaky, I have this spiritual guide, and he would come sometimes, I'm meditating, I could hear his voice, in my head. And he, when things were over, he says, well, he said, at least you made three people. He said, at least you made three people. That was a good thing.
Oh
And I
my
never thought,
God.
because we say kids, but he said, you made three
Three
people. That
people.
was good. It was all for nothing.
Exactly. Exactly. We
Oh
learned.
my goodness. Yeah, that, but you know what? This discussion that you're having, because I always like, the teacher in me always go like, who needs to hear this particular lesson?
Mm,
And yes, you're dealing with people who have income, have businesses, and they have money to invest or buy their policies and, start building their wealth.
yeah.
But I really feel that this discussion, even the professional gold digger discussion, needs to be done sometime before people get out of high school.
Hmm.
I mean, that would be such a demographic that when if people hear these words, like have
Hmm.
a plan together, know and what are you looking for? Because that's the stage when you start looking for these things.
Yep.
Whether it's relationship, career, whatever it is, that's the next step.
Yep.
So to have somebody have this level of discussion and that level of awareness, this will be really something,
Yeah. Yeah.
that you're your senior in high school, you're in your 11th year. This is the time to have this type of awareness about what are
Hmm.
you doing with your life.
Which is the reason why I started, calling myself Auntie Shakey because,
Hmm.
well, I didn't start calling myself, somebody else called me that. They were like, oh, you always auntieing us. You always
Hmm.
auntieing me. And so it just kind of stuck because I'm going to tell you the things that your mother's not going to tell you.
Yeah,
I'm going to
or your
tell you,
teachers,
or your
or
teachers,
or your
or
pastor.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So, but yeah, that's where that, and I agree that it should start that young. It especially these young girls, they get involved in, especially in this time. Can you imagine growing up in this space?
Ooh, I feel sorry for them. I really do. I feel for them. The amount of judgment and people's opinions, and you can't just be yourself, like this. I mean, they're in it thick. Like that stuff, I don't care about it. I don't worry about it. Doesn't mean anything to me, but they feel every ounce of it. So
Yeah.
I feel for these youngsters.
Like everything has to be a performance. It's
Yeah,
about, is your before, when I was in high school, the popularity was built on, how many people, voted you for prom queen, or something like that.
exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But now it's how many likes you got on Instagram, how many
And
likes
it's
you got on Facebook,
constant. But
and it's constant.
but what I see with them and my generation, your generation, and them, that was just 4 years of high school. Theirs is going on continuously. Like the 4 year, it doesn't stop at 4 years. It continues. So I'm like, imagine what that's doing to someone's psyche, their self perception, if your life is just this prolonged high school where you're worried about what people think about you all the time.
Yes.
After high school, who cares?
Who cares?
Yeah.
I remember talking to a girlfriend, and I asked her, she was going through it with her husband. And I said, "Well, what do you think? What do you think about the situation? What do you think about him?" She said, "I don't think that I've had an original thought in the last 10 years."
Wow.
I thought that that was so, first of all, that was so like self-reflective of her. You know what I'm saying? To even be
Hmm.
able to admit that, because social media is telling us how to think about our relationships,
How to think, how to look, how to feel. Yeah.
all of that. And so
Hmm.
you don't have an original thought. Even, I mean, before it's social media, I mean, hell, you even had the Bible to tell you how your relationship's supposed to look, feel,
Hmm.
whatever, right? But we're not going to get into that, but the Bible's still being written.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like it just didn't stop with those 66 books. And
Right.
so if that being the case, like we're all so different that you don't, just because somebody created a meme that said that women are supposed to do this and men are supposed to do that, doesn't mean that that's how it's supposed to be in your house.
True. Exactly.
Now, I am going to judge because I do believe in chivalry because I am a
Hmm.
lady.
Hmm.
Okay. I don't open no doors. If there's a man in my presence, I don't open no door. But that's just my standard.
Hmm.
Okay. And I think that it's okay but that's an original thought for me.
Yeah.
This isn't something that I read off of Instagram. This isn't anything. I just like the feeling of allowing a man to be a man. And I need to give him
Hmm.
every opportunity to do that,
Yeah. And
whether
and
it be my man or somebody else's.
and what I see with a lot of young women, and I'm not sure about what's happening with a lot of the young men today, why their resistance to taking on manhood and responsibilities of manhood. A lot of young women these days, they are actually not even allowing that young man to be a man because maybe he's so slow, he's never been trained, he doesn't know. So they're taking on both roles a lot of the times that I see in these younger relationships. And sometimes I have to tell them, I said, look, if your man want to buy you something, don't tell him he can't afford it. Don't tell him, are you sure we got the money? If he wants to buy it, let him figure out how to do it because
Let
he's
them
a
figure out how
man.
to do it. Yep.
Exactly. I had that discussion with a young lady the other day, and I was like, "Yeah, he wants to. Don't tell him not to. He's a man. Like he'll figure
Mhm,
it out. He'll
mhm,
work some extra shifts. He'll do something, and he'll afford it. He's a man. Let
mhm,
him do it.
mhm.
And she was like, I say, he's not your child. He's a man.
That's right.
No.
That's right.
Yeah.
But what he's not gonna do is he's not gonna lay up on my couch. He's not gonna lay up in my house while I'm
Exactly.
at work. He's not gonna drive my car while I'm at work. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And
Yeah.
he has no
Exactly.
place to go. That's not
and
going.
and unfortunately I see a lot of those relationships with these younger women these days.
Yep.
It's sad, but like
It
you said,
is.
they don't have a plan, and
Mhm.
that's the reason why I said that this discussion that you're having really hits somewhere before high school, early college, late high school. This is the type of discussion and awareness they should be having about themselves.
Mhm. Do you think it would be received well though?
I feel it'll be received very well because look at how the society is turning out.
It's
Look,
that.
I mean, that one discussion wouldn't change it, but even if it got into the public awareness and people started to discuss it and talk about it and become more aware of it, because right now what I do see, and it's funny we got off on this tangent here. Um, what I see is a lot of blaming. Men are blaming women, women are blaming men. There's this, at each other's throat. And so what I do see, if I see anything about relationships, all I see is, the woman, the long laundry list of why she is no good or she is to blame, and the man is, and that doesn't solve anything. We need each other,
Yep.
and we need each other in a way that's have some sanity to it, because I look at it and I said that's insanity. I
Yep.
mean, maybe I didn't like my relationship, I definitely wasn't with the right person, I realize all of those things, but I'm not blaming him for me, because in spite of that I became who I became,
That's right.
even out of all of that.
Yep.
So, and then sometimes they say pressure makes diamonds. It was a lot of pressure, it wasn't easy, but I still got the wisdom and whatever I got from that to move
Yeah.
forward. So I'm not blaming him. I realized, hey, he wasn't feeling it, neither was I. He was going, I don't think so. I was going, oh no, he's going, I don't know about this. I don't think we were both kind of being pushed together. Well, the church and God says, and
Yep.
so we kind of like, oh, I guess we'll try it and see. And then a baby came and another baby, so it's like, okay, kind of stuck with you for a minute
Yep.
there. Yeah,
Exactly.
so that's how that went down. But I don't blame him and I don't like tear him down for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this whole blaming each other for everything. That's why I said, you know, either something like you're suggesting, that people become professional, gold diggers, male and female, and
Mhm.
look for that gold in that other person and know what their standards are. Have a
Mhm.
plan so that you could plan with that other person to move forward in your life. To me, that's a way better solution than what we have now.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's
And
why I think it will be well received.
here's what's interesting. Because high net worth earners don't marry people for love.
Hmm.
They don't.
Yeah.
They want someone that can that they can trust with their money. Period.
Hmm. And you've met, you know a lot of them, so you know that's where they're coming from.
Can they be trusted
Mhm.
with my money, and can they be free of all of their emotions as I do my thing? They certainly don't need somebody that's going to nag them all the time. Where you at? Where you been? Where you going? Da 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 da. I'm working.
Hmm.
I'm working to provide a lifestyle for us.
Hmm.
And so if you get into the point where you're so emotional, I'm just
Or
asking,
insecure.
or insecure, all I'm suggesting is for us women. I know they say that we're the emotional beings, but certainly men are emotional too.
Men are
Okay.
way emotional and they
Okay.
gossip way more than women.
Oh my gosh.
Facts.
But they say we're the emotional beings. All I'm asking you to do is get rid of the emotion and start thinking strategic. That's all.
Amen.
When it comes to your money, when it comes to your finances, just think strategic. Leave the emotions out the way because they allow you to make some really dumb decisions.
Yeah. Lots of mistake.
Hmm.
Yeah. This was such a good conversation, Auntie Shakey. We went from money into gold digging into relationships and how they mesh up in your life. And before we go, I would just love to hear from you some gems, some pearls of wisdom that you'd like to leave us with today.
Okay. So thank you so much again, Akia, for having me. So again, I am Auntie Shakey, the financial matchmaker, helping you with your perfect serve through stocks, insurance, and real estate. Listen, there's a couple of things that I do want to leave you with. One, don't be afraid to diversify. Okay. Two, don't be afraid to separate yourself and your money. Separate the emotions from your money. It's going to be okay. Yes. Do you need to figure out who to trust because not everybody out here is here to benefit you? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I want you to interview people, connect with them. See who makes you feel the most comfortable and who also asks you about your all around life plan versus, oh, okay, so do you just need some life insurance? Like what it is that you need? I don't know what I need. That's what I'm paying you for. But also, this is specifically for my ladies. I'll let this be for my men too. But get a plan, not just a business plan. Okay. The same way you have to go to a bank and show a bank a business plan to see if you are credit worthy of them loaning you money. The same way you need to have a life plan to make sure you are worthy of whatever it is that is open to come your way. If you don't have a plan, then your continual theme is going to be life is life because your plan ain't planning. So either you want to do a life is life type of way of life, or you want to do my plan is planning. Now we know that not every plan is perfect and that we may have to pivot and shift and stuff like that, but that's still my plan planning and not my life lifing. So those are the things that I would leave for with you guys, and you guys can connect with me on all social media platforms at Auntie Shakey.
Thank you so much, Auntie Shakey. Wow. That was like we did two series in one. They got a twofer. That was some real serious wisdom and some pearls. And I learned so much. I'm sure that you
Yeah.
guys learned so much. And we're going to ask you to like, subscribe, and share this. There are people that really are going to need this information. And I'm going to bid you all good night. And this was just fabulous. This just blew me out of the water. Thank you so much, Auntie Shakey. I
Thank you,
really
Akia.
appreciate you coming. Good night.